Alright, so I'm back, and today we're going to be doing a rant of the week. This is going to be a review on the Batman v Superman movie. I finally got to see it. First off, for Sammy T, he wanted to see these guys next to each other. So you can see Bone Crusher's a bit bigger than he is, which I'm okay with. So yeah, he wanted to see that. I know he liked the Batman v Superman, and you know that's awesome. So Sammy, here you go. There's those guys sitting next to each other. Now Sammy, turn off this video because I did not like this movie. My hair's just all poofed up. I need to shave my head again. Anyway, so, before I get into the spoilers, I'll just go over my overview of the movie. I thought it was messy. Some of the fight scenes, well, some of the fight scenes were actually pretty good. Some of the fight scenes, especially that final fight scene, was so chaotic and too much stuff was going on. And all I could sit there and think of, I have no idea what's going on. It reminded me of, the Bay Transformer fight scenes, where you don't know who's fighting who or what's going on. So many sparks are flying, things are crumbling, and it got to the point where it's like, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know who was where. It was confusing. Some of the acting was on point. Some of it was completely off. Lex Luthor, I knew that going in, but I still, had hope for the movie. And the writing was messy. The directing was messy. The plot was convoluted. Just overall, the movie was not a good movie. Not only was it not a good comic book movie or a good adaptation of something that should have had two different comic books from the DC universe, two which are some of the best comic book writing in history, and yet they still couldn't get it right for this movie because they were mixing two comic books that had nothing to do with each other. Rating wise, I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 10, and put it in the category of one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. So that being said, I know everyone's got their own opinions on the movie. A lot of people really liked it. Critics seem to hate it. And usually I'm like, okay, critics, you guys are fucking idiots, because, like, a lot of people hated Revenge of the Fallen. I loved Revenge of the Fallen. I thought that was a great movie. No, it was not a masterpiece of, a cinematic masterpiece, but it was fun to watch. You had a little bit of character development in that movie. Not much, but you had some. But okay. So, spoiler alert from this point on, I'm going to be talking about spoilers from the movie. So if you haven't seen it, I recommend you don't go see it. And if you really enjoyed the movie, I recommend you turn this video off now, because I have nothing really else good to say about the movie. So, we all on the same page now? Alright. So, first off, I'm going to mention the good things. I've got, let's see. I'd say two good things to say about the movie, and one, I can make it make sense thing in my mind if I really try. And then we'll go into the bad. So the two good things, I liked when Batman found the picture of Wonder Woman, and the theme music kind of came up, and you saw the picture of her back in World War I, I believe that would have been, So you see that picture of her, World War One, and he's just like, wait, the fuck? So that was actually pretty good. I liked that. Although, from that point on, I was more interested in her story than I was in the actual movie I was watching. Because up until that point, there was nothing in the movie that really kept my attention. The other thing that I enjoyed on the movie was, let's see here. How, you know, I was afraid how they were going to shoehorn in all these other heroes, the Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman. I liked the way they did it because it looks like, you know, it had been, Lex had researched these things and found footage of them, and that's where Batman found it, was when he hacked into Lex's computers. So that was pretty cool to see. The way it was done. Now, the Aquaman part was ridiculously stupid because you could tell the actor's holding his breath underwater, and Aquaman doesn't really need to hold his breath underwater. So what they should have done is filmed him like on a green screen and then CGI that into the water scene, so that he looks more natural, because he shouldn't look like he's it was pretty stupid looking. The Cyborg one was you know, they had to do the origin, although it was pretty funny that he was being built by the guy that built the Terminator in Terminator 2. That was pretty cool. And then the Flash, you know, it was Flash, you know, he moves so fast you can't see him, the camera's blinked out. Okay. So those were the two good things on the movie, for me. That is it. Now, a lot of people are making fun of the Martha scene. You know, and they're saying like, "Oh, your mom's Martha. My mom's name is Martha too. You know, did we just become best friends? Yes, we did." And, you know, they're making fun of that. While that, you know, thinking of it like that makes it sound stupid, but the way I see it is, you know, Batman's smart. So he's got to get in the mindset that this is an alien being that needs to be put down. You know, something that came from the sky and just needs to die. When they start talking about the fact that he's got a human mother, that puts it into a human perspective, and now Batman doesn't want to kill him because it's, you know, he realizes this is somebody that was raised by humans. So that would hesitate Batman typically. So that's where I'm coming from. I could see where Batman would hesitate, and then, you know, that would calm him down a little bit and such. Now let's go into the bad of the movie, because there's a lot of bad. I won't go into every detail, but from the beginning of the movie, when Bruce Wayne is running from the funeral for his parents, you know, of course they had to reshoot or redo the death of his parents scene again. You see it every single fucking Batman movie. But you see him running from them, and he falls into the Batcave. You know, we've seen that before. So that was in Batman Forever, I think. That almost the exact same thing. And then, you know, he sees the big thing of bats, and they wake up and they start flying around him in this big tornado that floats him up into the sky. I mean, he's like elevating, like. And then he explains, "Oh, that was just a dream." And I'm just like, it's too late, dude. You know, this is the beginning of the movie, and you just ruined the whole movie for me, because that shot, there's no reason for that shot whatsoever. And the like, even in Batman Forever, you know, you see the giant bat coming towards him and stuff like that. it took me out of the movie. I'm in the movie. I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to enjoy this movie. Trying to turn off my brain, and then this comes along and just pulls me right out of the movie, and I am laughing hysterically. It was one of the funniest things I have ever seen. My brother was with me, and he was laughing. I mean, that was the problem with the movie, is that at some points it tried to take itself too seriously, or it would throw its characters so far out of balance that we were laughing. And by the end of the movie, I had tears coming out of my eyes because I was laughing so much. I mean, oh my god. Floating Bruce Wayne in the tornado of bats. I mean, god. Oh my god. I won't go into much of Lex, because you guys know my opinion on the Lex. That horribly miscast. You could have grabbed any random person off the street and said, hey, you want to play Lex Luthor in the movie? And they would have done a better job than he does, because of the fact that they understand the character of Lex. He was playing like the role of the Joker or the Riddler from Batman Forever. He was not playing a good, compelling Lex. None. He knows who Superman is, and he knows who Batman is, and that's not in the movie at all. There is nothing in the movie showing how he figured that out. It just, I know. It's like, when? Since when? Since when does Lex Luthor know who Batman is? I know at some point in the comic he figures out who Superman is, but when does he figure out who Batman is? Anyway, so he's the one that's been orchestrating this fight between Batman and Superman this whole time, and that just you don't need to orchestrate a fight in between Batman and Superman, because Batman and Superman, they're such opposing characters that their views would come in conflict. Look at how Daredevil and Punisher came out. Nobody orchestrated those two to fight. They just kind of came into conflict because of their opposing views. Such a better way to do it, right there, as opposed to what we got here. Let's see, what else was terrible? Okay, so this is something, maybe I laughed through why this was going on. But one of the government guys goes to Lex and says, hey, I'm willing to give you whatever you need. Why? What purpose did that guy have to give Lex whatever he wanted? And to Lex make demands of this guy? I mean, did I miss something? Or was it just like, oh yeah, I'm going to give you whatever you want to because I like young boys? I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't pick up why. And then Lex is like, oh, I want full access to the ship. And Lex's body is like, Zod's body. And it's like, why? I don't understand why. The little subplot where Lex is trying to convince this senator to let him bring in the kryptonite from the Indian Ocean, and he's asking her if he could import it legally, and she says no. And I'm sitting there again. Why? I'm not understanding why. Here's a scientist that's wanting a mineral, and he's explaining to her that this mineral can be used to put down these superpowers, that she's in Congress fighting to get him under control. So why would she not want him to get this? It made no sense. So, okay, whatever, moving on. Another thing that didn't make sense is this movie takes place 18 months after the events of Man of Steel. Now, Man of Steel was a movie I didn't like as much, or like so much, but it was okay. But, and, you know, a lot of people said the controversial ending and stuff like that. And for me, I thought, you know, I'm like, hey, you know, it worked. I thought it was okay. But, I mean, it did showcase the same issue I always have with Superman fighting his battles inside the city. The fact that he'd level half the city during the fight. But the fact that one of the alien ships crash lands in Metropolis, and in 18 months, what does the government do with this alien technology? They put a tarp over it. That's it. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Any other government in any universe, including the real DC universe, okay, we have an alien ship that crash lands in the middle of a city. Are we going to put a tarp over it, or are we going to move it to a secure location? Oh, I wonder. No, the only reason why it's still there is so that it can move the plot forward at the end. That's the only reason why it's there. But for all sakes and purposes, it really made no sense for them to leave the alien ship in the middle of the city with a tarp over it. I mean, I know it was a tent, but it sounds better when I say tarp. And then the one in the Indian Ocean, it's just sitting there with a little sign that says "Do not enter." I mean, no, the governments are going to be moving this technology out of that public view and put it behind closed doors so they can experiment to see if they could use the technology for themselves. This is what all governments do. And I wouldn't blame them either. Even if it was in real life. If an alien ship crash landed and we all saw it, we all know it, and then the government takes it and hides it somewhere, I won't blame them because that doesn't belong on the city streets. So yeah, that made no sense. No sense whatsoever. And it just was like, again, all these things were taking me out of the movie. One scene that I was really looking forward to, and it didn't actually happen, was the actual Superman on trial. I was looking forward to that, because I would like to see Superman explain his actions to a court. And I enjoy that kind of stuff. I mean, I actually do enjoy a little courtroom drama. I like shows like Law and Order that actually go into that sometimes. And so I was actually looking forward to that, and it didn't happen at all. Superman shows up and they bomb the building, and that's the end of it. I was like, okay. And the guy that bombs the building, he lost his legs during the Superman incident because a gurney fell on his legs and they had to amputate, I guess. And I'm just sitting there. Here's a guy who's pissed off at Batman, or at Bruce Wayne, and at Superman, who's crippled, and Lex comes to him, and Lex has already got kryptonite, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, why didn't they make Metallo? I mean, you've got like a guy that has no legs, so he needs something, and he wants vengeance on Superman, and you got the kryptonite. I mean, all the elements were there, and instead he blows himself up. I was just like, okay, whatever. Okay, let's see what else was bad. Let's talk about the Batman. Because a lot of people say this is a really good rendition of Batman, and I have to disagree. I thought it was a terrible, terrible version of Batman. You see Bruce and Alfred drinking all the time, and as far as I know, Batman doesn't drink. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he likes to get drunk every now and then, but I doubt that. They're just drinking all the time. You can tell it's affecting Alfred. Alfred's getting snide. Alfred's dialogue near the beginning doesn't fit to his dialogue later on, because he seems like he's against Superman at the beginning, and later on he's against Batman going up against Superman, saying that Superman's our friend, that he's our ally, and it's like, that's not how you phrased it earlier, Alfred. Maybe it's all the drinking. And then, okay, so they talk about how Batman's been active for 20 years. Now, I know somewhere they're saying, like, Batman's coming out of retirement, and like, the, the director's talking about the movie ahead of time, but I don't recall anything in the movie actually saying that. So Batman's been active for 20 years, and even if he took some time off, there's parts where it's like the news reporters are reporting Batman like it's the first time they've heard about him. Same with Clark Kent, who's over there, who's like trying to investigate Batman, but again, it's like this is his, like first time hearing about Batman. Like, oh my god, and not to mention he's been in Metropolis for 18 months, and it's just like he's just now coming up, Batman stuff. It was weird the way they did that. Like, there's a scene in the near the beginning, where their cop walks in on Batman and he sees him start shooting like crazy, and he's terrified, and it's just like, you live in Gotham, you're a cop in Gotham, and you're not expecting to see Batman, who's been active for 20 years. Something's wrong there. It's just the way they were doing it. It's like it just seemed like, either Batman's been completely in the shadows for 20 years and hasn't had a run-in with the police at all, or they're making it seem like this is a new Batman, like just coming out, just coming up. But Alfred and Batman keep saying that they were active for 20 years, so that doesn't make sense to me. Nothing clicked there. And also the scene with the cop shooting at Batman and he's crawling through the ceiling. Like, I don't even know what to think of that. I mean, he didn't like run or maybe like go through the window or something like that. He's literally like, his hands are like clawing through the ceiling and the wall as he's crawling across it. And I'm just like, what is this? That's not Batman. Oh my god. Oh man. Okay, so just to explain part of the plot here, so Lex doesn't get the kryptonite approved to be brought in, so he has it snuck in, even though Batman knew that he was going to have it snuck in weeks prior to him actually doing it. So that doesn't make any sense there. But so anyway, he has it snuck in, and these guys are offloaded on the ship. They're putting it in the back of the truck. Batman's got a sniper rifle. It turns out it's just the little bat tracer. He shoots the back of the door of the truck. Remember that, because I'm going to come back to that in a second, because this is just a movie mistake that I noticed like right away. So then they all, these guys get into the truck. They're driving off. There's a couple cars following it. They're all armed guards, but they are driving through Gotham City, so I can't blame them for being armed guards, because it's Gotham fucking City. I mean, if you're transporting anything through Gotham City, you're going to expect somebody's going to stop you at some point, if not one of the supervillains. So I can't blame them for being that. So Batman comes down, and he crashes this one car. It's like flipping, and it's like, okay, those guys are probably really badly hurt, but you know, whatever. And then he shoots a grappling hook into the car and starts dragging it. And this car is like bouncing back and forth, crashing into things. And he ends up flipping it, and it lands like, you know, pancakes on the other car. One of the other cars. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, everyone in both those cars are now dead. Is Batman just not caring? You know, is just, you know, like, oh, hey, you had your chance to get out of the car. It's not my fault that you got into the car. Okay, whatever. And then he pulls out a fucking minigun and blows away the next car. I'm like, wait, Batman's just gonna murder everybody on this little detail? And he almost does. I mean, he's driving through. He's crashing them into cars. He's shooting them. He's mowing them down. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, wait, this is Batman we're talking about. Batman doesn't kill bad guys, and these are just guys that are guarding a truck. You know, there's no proof that they're bad guys. They might just need a job. You know, yeah, sure. You know, let Batman beat him up, and he's only wanting to steal the kryptonite from the truck. So he's not like trying to prevent. You know, like at the beginning he said it was a dirty bomb. It's not a dirty bomb. It's a mineral that Lex is trying to get in so that he can protect the planet from Superman. And Batman wants it, so he's murdering the guards that are protecting it. That's not Batman to me. I was blown away on how callous he was murdering these guys. It's one thing if it, like the Tim Burton Batman, he killed people. But these are bad guys that you know are bad guys because they're wearing the uniforms that had Joker's face on it. They've got knives and guns, and they're ready to kill any of the innocents on the streets. So yeah, I don't feel bad that those guys died. But these guys, they weren't doing anything wrong. As far as you could really know about them, you know, they didn't even know that this shipment was getting stuck into the country. It could have been just a regular shipment as far as they know, and they're just like, oh yeah, I'm just supposed to guard this as it goes through one of the most dangerous cities in the world. And then here comes Batman and like, oh hey, I want what you have, I'm going to kill you. And there's even a scene where he pushes a car into one of those tanker trucks, and it explodes in a massive fireball, and Batman just drives around it and keeps going, and it's just like, wait, what about the driver of the gas truck? Are you just gonna let him roast to death if he's still alive? You're not gonna check on him to make sure he's okay? You're just gonna drive around him and keep going? Yeah, here's an innocent person you caused to die. That shit like that was really making me mad, and it got worse from there. You see Batman like cut a big chunk of the truck off when he runs into it, and then they get away because Superman gets involved. And he starts tracing the truck, and you see the tracer is stuck to the side of the truck now. Complete different location from the door where he shot it. So it's like, okay, that's just a movie mistake. That's why I wanted you guys to remember I was talking about that earlier. And then when he does steal the kryptonite, Lex has it in his laboratory. This is a public laboratory. You've seen people kind of come and go. So it's got regular security guards and regular people, working there. And when Lex shows up at the break-in, there's all the shattered glass everywhere. There's the bullet shells just littering the floor, and you see these, all these people getting carted out into ambulances and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, how many innocent people did Batman just beat the shit out of to steal the kryptonite? Again, and it also makes no sense that he would do that, because earlier Lex said, hey, if Wayne Corp ever wants to work together on a project, just let me know. We're working on all sorts of stuff. Just give me a call. So it's like, had he wanted to, especially since Lex knew who Batman was, if Bruce could have tried and said, hey, called Lex, hey, can I borrow your kryptonite? And Lex would have been like, oh, thinking in the background, oh, you know what, this is Batman. He's actually going to use this to kill Superman, which is what I want. So yeah, sure, you can borrow my kryptonite. You can go run some experiments on it. Why not? And all those innocent people would have gotten the shit beat out of them or murdered by Batman. I just was like, wow. Just wow. Some of this stuff was just, oh man. Of course, you get the fight scene with Batman and Superman. It was good. I enjoyed it. And like I said, the whole Martha scene, I get it. Makes Batman hesitate, and then he starts thinking about it. Although this is also the same Batman that's murdering people so that he can steal shit. Yeah. I also asked the question of, since when does Batman have premonitions? Because he was having premonitions about Darkseid's invasion with the parademons. But yeah, I guess that doesn't matter, right? Yeah. Oh man, it was just like so much of this movie didn't make any sense. And then so they figure out that they're friends, that they don't need to fight. And Lex is behind the whole thing, so Superman goes after Lex because you really need to send somebody that powerful after to stop Lex Luthor, and then Batman goes after Superman's mom and has to beat up all the bad guys, murdering a few of them in the process, and showing that he's got some kind of super strength, but maybe he's got a power suit. Who knows? Because some of the things he was doing to those people and to like objects around those people was just like, no, regular people can't do that. Even really fit people can't do that. But whatever. Not gonna go there. So yeah, you got that fight sequence where really you'd think Batman would go after the one regular bad guy villain, and Superman would go save his mom, because he's Superman and he can do that a lot quicker. And this whole time they're fighting, something majors is going on at the down ship because Lex is creating Doomsday. There's lightning bolts coming from it, and it's drawing energy from the city. And neither one of these guys, Batman or Superman, who are supposed to be superheroes, realize that, hey, there's an issue over there we need to go take care of. Instead, they have to fight it out themselves. So then we get Doomsday. Which, of course, as he's coming out, my brother leans over to me. He's like, look, they brought a cave troll. I was like, I mean, it's a tired joke, but it's so true. And then, you get Doomsday versus Superman for a minute, and then not for a minute. And as Doomsday apparently got this new power where he'd get energy waves that would just, like, expand and, like, levels sections of the city, whatever. That makes perfect sense. But the whole time, every time Doomsday was like expanding that power wave, I was just sitting there like, Doomsday leveled up. And then Superman and Doomsday, they fight, they go into space, they get hit with a nuke, Doomsday comes back down, and he's even better than he was before. And, all the spikes are coming out, and he's pulling his skin off, and I'm like, Cave Troll is evolving into Doomsday. There's a Pokemon reference for you guys. It was just stupid. And you see Superman in space, he's all like weak and all fried out because it's, you know, taking place in the Dark Knight Returns comic book there for a second, and sun hits him and he regenerates like that, and he flies back to the fight. Batman's flying around in the Batplane. He's like, oh, I have to go get the kryptonite spear that I left behind, and so I had to get him to follow me. Where he's on this island that's completely uninhabited at the moment, just kind of screaming and raging. So I would think the best course of action, because I mean, obviously you're going to know where Doomsday is at all times, would be to fly back, grab the spear, and then go get him. But no. Bring him back to the city so that he could tear it apart while you're trying to find one item in it. Makes perfect sense. That sounds like a Batman thing to do. So Batman is trying to fight Doomsday, which, yeah, of course, doesn't work at all. Then Wonder Woman comes in, you know, which is cool. You know, she blocks off his energy attacks. And they're all fighting Doomsday now. And at one point they're all like, "Oh, he's absorbing energy. Don't hit him with energy." So Superman shoots him with his laser eyes. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? They just said he's absorbing energy. Don't use energy-based weapons, and you're gonna shoot him with your laser eyes. Ah! Although that does sound like a Superman thing to do, because Superman's kind of stupid. But they're all acting pretty stupid here, with the exception of Wonder Woman, who's over there. She's like, I mean, I didn't like her character throughout the whole movie for the most part, but this part, you know, I say, okay, yeah, cool, because she's like, because they're like, oh, this thing's not from this world, and she's like, I've killed things like that before, and you see her sword is actually cutting Doomsday. At one point, she even cuts his hand off, which begs the question of, why did they need the kryptonite spear? Why not shoot him with the kryptonite bullet that Superman has, that the gas to weaken him, and have Wonder Woman chop its fucking head off? I'm pretty sure that would do the trick, because she's able to do damage to it. I mean, the hand, when it fell off, it was just a dead hand. You know, he grew spikes back into place, but I mean, what is he going to do? Grow a spiky head and just the body just going to fall down? Or is the head going to grow a spiky body? I mean, at least give them time to think about how to dispose of the body. I don't. So anyway, in the final fight, the cave troll ends up stabbing Frodo in the chest, and then they kill the cave troll, and then you find out that Frodo really had a mithril shirt underneath. Oh wait, that's the wrong movie. It is exact the way it went down, because Superman goes in there to fight him. Doomsday stabs him in the chest, and then of course Superman comes back. Oh yeah, that was incredible use of film. I hated that. And then you get the Lord of the Rings fade out, fade back in ending sequence, where it's like, you know, it's like, okay, we're at the funeral for Superman, fade out, fade back in. Okay, we're at the funeral for Clark. Okay, yeah, you know, I get that, and it fades out, fades back in. There's Lois Lane crying, and Superman's mom comes in there, and it's like, oh, here's the engagement ring he was gonna give you, which is, you know, perfect place to give it to her is on his funeral. And it fades out, and it fades back in, and they're at the funeral for Clark Kent, and Batman and Wonder Woman are in the background. So I failed him in life, even though I only knew him for a few minutes, and I will not fail him in his death. The rest of the metahumans have to prepare to fight. It's like, what? Okay. Moving on, and then it like fades out, and it fades back in. Oh, yeah, and just on and on and on and on, and the whole time I'm just sitting there, I'm like, just show him getting out of the coffin or something. And of course you do see that at the very end, but I'm just like, just show it so that I can go. I am done with this movie. If there's an in after credit sequence, I don't give a shit about it. I'm going. And then you get Lex over there, ding, 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 ding. And it's like, what the fuck? That's not Lex Luthor. So I just wanted to leave, and oh my god, that movie was so bad. I know I just went through almost all the movie, but and that's not even everything that I thought was stupid in the movie. That's just a summary of all the stuff that really bugged me. The Batman voice, because it's all electronic now, and trying to disguise it, and that bothered me too, because it didn't sound right. And the way he was acting, my brother, he's like, you know what Batman sounded like? He sounded like one of those Daleks from Doctor Who. And it was like, the more I think about it, the more it was. Okay, Superman's different. Exterminate. And it's like, oh, these guys are doing their job, exterminate, and mow them down with a fucking machine gun. I am Batman. All in all, the movie was hilariously bad. I laughed a lot with a lot of those scenes, and it was so bad. The Doomsday fight was it was so cluttered. And they're leveling the cities again. This is so much destruction going on. And all I can just sit there and think of is just like, why am I watching this? I have, let's see, where'd it go? Let's see. I have this, the directed DVD animated movie, which it deviates from the comic a lot, from the Batman versus Doomsday, or Superman versus Doomsday. Some have the Dark Knight Returns on animated. Both of those are far superior to this movie that they just put out. Far superior. If you want to watch Batman v Superman, go watch the animated Dark Knight Returns. If you want to watch Superman versus Doomsday, watch Superman Doomsday. Or go buy the comic book. Great read. Death of Superman. Great read. Return to Superman. Great read. Highly recommend those. If you want to see, the Justice League in action, go watch the Justice League series. They had like 3 or 4 seasons of Justice League. And if you watch the Batman animated series and then the Superman animated series leading into Justice League, it's actually really good, long, compelling story arc, where you get character development and Superman's acting like the Boy Scout. Doing everything he can to save the city. You see that he's not quite too intelligent, but he's trying. You see introductions slowly of Flash and Green Lantern, and I don't think you see Cyborg, but Wonder Woman and stuff like that. And then you got Batman, who's got the character development. You see Robin slowly not fall out of grace, good grace with Batman, so he becomes Nightwing, and a new Robin takes his place. You see Superman and Batman, and they come in contact, and Batman just pulls out a little piece of kryptonite. It's a much better, and the way they get tied together was the Joker, as opposed to Lex being Joker, the Lex Joker. All in all, I hated this movie. I hate it for many reasons. It's just poor writing, acting, directing. All of that was just very poorly done. over convoluted. They're really trying, like, Man of Steel was one of those movies. It's like, I like this movie. It's a decent movie as long as the next movie has the payoff. Well, the next movie had no payoff because they're building that movie to be one of those, okay, this is decent, so that the next movie will have the payoff. And it's like, no, you need to have the payoff now. Iron Man 1, was a good movie. Incredible Hulk was a decent movie as long as you have the payoff of the Avengers. Then you have Iron Man 2 and Thor and Captain America. And Captain America, again, was one of those movies, the first Captain America, was one of those movies like, it's okay as long as you have the payoff of the Avengers. Then you have the Avengers, it's like, okay, payoff. And you had the payoff with that movie. You don't have that here. Because Superman needed to be, or Man of Steel needed to be successful for Batman v Superman, and it wasn't as good as it could have been. So you needed to make Batman v Superman good to make up for that one. But this one wasn't good at all. It just, no way, shape, or form was this movie any good at all. I absolutely hated it. Like I said, there's a couple scenes in there that I was like, all right, I find those enjoyable. But those are far from worth it. As far as I'm concerned, the DC Cinematic Universe is dead. It's dead to me. I'm done. If this is what they're going to build their universe off of, I am done. No. I can't do it. I can't do it. Just imagine how successful the X-Men universe would have been had they led with X-Men Origins Wolverine or The Last Stand. If they would have led with those kind of movies, we wouldn't have all these movies that we have now and more coming out. But this universe is trying to lead with these movies, and it's just like, oh my God, this is going to be crap after crap after crap after crap. And this movie is up there with like Ninja Turtles for me as one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And I went into this, like, of course you guys know me, I wasn't too excited about it, but I had hope. I had hope that I would be able to at least turn off my brain and enjoy a Batman versus Superman movie. Instead, what I got was, I laughed hysterically because of the bad writing, and I just wanted to go home. The whole time I was watching this movie, I'm like, I want to go home. I'm sitting there, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I just got the Iron Man 3 Marvel Legends wave in. I wonder how good those figures are. I wish I could have had a chance to crack those guys open today and really sit down and play with them. It's like, I also got a Shockwave in the mail today. I kind of wish I could take a look at that and see how that guy's working out. And start working on the comparison review. It's like, I kind of would rather do that than watch this dribble. And I feel bad because my brother didn't want to see it at all. He was just like, it's going to be bad. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be bad, but come on. Let's go see it. Me and you. So I paid for his ticket. I drug him out of the house. He had one day off, and he was wanting to stay home. I drug him out of the house and made him go see this movie. And the whole time, I was just like, oh my God, I feel so bad that I made him leave his house. And at the end, he hated it. But he thought it was hysterical. He thought it was hysterical too. So, anyway, there you go. There's my thoughts of Batman v Superman. I'm sure I'm gonna get some hate for it because I get hate for whatever I do. So, but anyway, post your comments on what you thought about the movie. And hopefully I'll have a chance next week to go over those comments.